In the countryside of Argentina, cowboy life has scarcely changed over the past 3 centuries. The Gaucho is a hero here, a legendary figure, larger than life. But these are the real Gauchos, men who still live this life, the way of the Gaucho. If there is such a thing as a classic Gaucho, it is Don Jose Anzola. He believes solitude helps preserve the purest form of Gaucho life.
Si no pudiera vivir en el campo.
If I couldn't live in the campo, the countryside, an unthinkable thought. I don't know what I'd do. I'd rather live in a shack out here than in a palace in the city. There's too much I'd miss. The sound of hoofbeats, the birds at dawn, sipping mate in the clean air. No city has that.
O gaúcho, a palavra gaúcho, ela vem de Gaucho. Gaucho vem de guacho. E guacho é quando o animal assim nasce e morre a mãe. Aí ele se cria sem mãe. Então aí a pessoa pega aquele animal ali, pode ser normalmente uma ovelha, um terneiro, e cria ele na mamadeira. E ele fica ali, o nome a gente chama de guacho, porque ele é sozinho, ele não tem mãe, não tem pai.
Tiene que presentarse el amigo en Rancho Los Amigos.
¡Hay campana!
Valdés y compañía, un signo de confianza.
Sale William Pereira con el ponchito arriba en un rocío colorado que escarba cerquita nomás que lo lleva y lo trae, señores de la tienda. Pero el paisano trata de ganarle todo. Tiene campana para William Pereira. Soy encantado de William Pereira que me dé.
Pato es un deporte que se juega hace 400 años en Argentina. Las reglas básicas son convertir el gol en el área contrario. Para ello el jinete tiene que ir montado y ofreciendo el pato con el brazo extendido a 90 grados. Si recoge la mano cuando viene otro jinete se considera negada. Y después las normas básicas de seguridad. Esto es el deporte nacional, se juega solo en la Argentina. Lo que hay algo parecido es en 20 países de 4 continentes se juega el horseball, que es un derivado netamente del pato, lo crearon los franceses hace 36 años, pero es un derivado del pato, en una cancha de 70 por 40, en el cual Argentina ya participó en el 2006, en el 2008 en Portugal y ahora vamos en noviembre a Francia, en el noviembre del 2012 vamos a Francia a jugar el Mundial. Me encantaría que sea profesional. Tal vez siendo profesional le va a quitar un poco del sabor familiar que tiene o de la parte social. Acá vas a ver que cuando terminan de jugar son todos amigos.
Bueno, el encanto del pato es que realmente es un juego muy apasionado, muy lindo, de mucha velocidad, de mucha sutileza también. Lo lamentable de esto del pato es que es un deporte que es totalmente amateur, no es profesional y por ahí no tiene la difusión que debería de tener. Pero para jugarlo bien es difícil y es caro. Se necesita muy buenos caballos, una buena organización y bueno, un equipo. No, lo que pasa es que no había un reglamento y entonces se jugaba con un pato de verdad. Metían en una bolsa un pato y ahí salían, capaz que salían 20 hombres, jugaban de la estancia, por ejemplo, de tal contra la otra estancia. Entonces capaz que hacían 15 kilómetros ahí de recorrido. Y ahí había de todo. Peleas, rodadas. Entonces, cada partido de pato le mataban 2 o 3 personas, qué sé yo, era una cosa. Pero el pato me dio muchas cosas, mucha amistad, muchos amigos, me dio vida. Entonces soy rico, estoy lleno, estoy riquísimo. En este sentido soy rico.
Baba But when they're driven under the fingernail and lighted, we find them very effective. I shall proceed first, Mr. McGregor.
In the great tradition of Gunga Din and Beau Geste, Gary Cooper stars in The Lives of a Bengal Lancer.
Shinto is the indigenous religion of Japan, a life-affirming animism calling upon the blessings of the numinous forces of nature and of specific spirit deities. Thus, being about nature, Shinto is largely associated with growth and prosperity. It encourages people to be sincere, cheerful, and pure, and to live in relationship with kami. Kami is sort of a catch-all term for the invisible spiritual forces behind all things, that range from the nameless power that inhabits a waterfall, beautiful tree, or enigmatic rock formation, all the way to an actual personified guardian or helper. Typically, a Shinto religious site can be a formal temple, approached by a vermilion cross-beamed gateway, or an unadorned feature of the Japanese landscape, marked off only by a white straw rope. The devotee presents an offering, claps their hands, or rings a bell to alert the spirit of the environment of their presence, and say a prayer to respect and honor them. Small shrines for kami are also very common in homes and offices. Followers of Shinto celebrate a mythical history of Japan and the special bond between the people and its islands. In the 19th century, Shinto was used to legitimize militaristic and fascist nationalism, a phase that officially came to an end in 1946 after Japan's defeat in World War II, when the emperor publicly renounced the belief that he was the living embodiment of Amaterasu, the Shinto goddess of the sun. Shinto is by far the largest religion in Japan, practiced by nearly 80% of the population, yet only a small percentage of these identify themselves as Shintoists in surveys. This is because Shinto has different meanings in Japan. Most of the Japanese attend Shinto shrines and beseech kami without want or need to belong to an institutional religion. Therefore, the number of members is often counting those who join organized Shinto sects. Today, there are 81,000 shrines and 85,000 priests across the country.
Hey guys, I'm Naoto. Today's story is about the religions we have. In Japan, we have two types of religions which are historically mixed up, and that confuses us every time to distinguish which is which. But with some knowledge, you can enjoy Japanese culture and history more and more. So today, I'm gonna tell you the three basic things about our two main religions, Buddhism and Shintoism. The first topic is place for worship. It's quite simple. Shrine belongs to Shintoism and the temple to Buddhism. The easiest way to distinguish is to find torii. Torii gate is an iconic symbol of shrine which indicates the boundary between the world you're living in and the world the god living in. At temples, there is no torii, but instead, at some places, you can find Buddha statues. And because of our funeral custom, some temples have grave beside its main buildings. Well, to sum up this section, I'd like to show you the map used in Japan. There are icons showing what kind of the place it is. Shrine is indicated by torii, and the temple, in contrast, indicated by swastika. Like I said, the religions in Japan have been mixed thoroughly from long time ago. There is a historical reason behind it. Originally, we Japanese had Shintoism, and the Shintoism stemmed from animism. Animism is a way of thinking that regards all the objects to have its own soul and supernatural power. With the knowledge of animism, it's gonna be more or less easier to understand Shintoism. In Shintoism, there are numerous number of gods, and the god is not only human, but also natural object. Even one grain of rice has its own soul. The way I say it, there is a geographical reason behind animism. Japan always suffers from natural disasters such as earthquake, typhoon, so I think this geographical condition encouraged animism and Shintoism. On the other hand, the origin of Buddhism is relatively simple. Buddhism was established by Gautama Siddhartha, known as Buddha in India, and now it became the world's fourth biggest religion. Back in 6th century, Buddhism was imported from China, not from India, to Japan. Since then, Shintoism and Buddhism coexist in Japan. Due to the difference in the origin and the background, the object for worship is different as well. In Buddhism, we worship Buddha, called Hotoke in Japanese language. There's a doctrine called samsara, according to which all the people repeat being born and dying in 6 different worlds and suffer from this reiteration forever. So we need help from Buddha to stop this reiteration of samsara. That's the reason why for worship in Buddhism. In contrast, in Shintoism, we worship God and nature, which is called kami or kami-sama. Basically, with respect, we put sama additionally. Unlike Buddhism, Shintoism has no clear doctrine, so its way of thinking is rather abstract, and the reasons for worship come from other kinds of motivation. In Buddhism, people worship for asking help from Buddha, but in Shintoism, people wish for their own wishes, such as academic achievement or healthy life, or people worship in order to appease ghost anger. And as I told you, there is no doctrine in Shintoism, but instead we have myth. Well, I'd like to skip the detail this time, but for example, there's a story about the establishment of our nation, and it is said our emperor family is the descendant of the greatest god. That's why Shintoism has a connection with emperor family, and that's why the emperor was regarded as the present god in World War period. But it's just a temporary way of thinking at that time. Don't worry. Today in Japan, the emperor is regarded not as a god, but as the symbol of our nation. So, how was today's episode? Could you grasp the essence of our religion? Or did it become more complicated to understand? The things I introduced today are just some parts of our religions, so I'd like to deal with other aspects in other episodes. Thank you for watching to the end. ありがとうございました。
Shintoism. It is at the heart of all things in Japan. The reason why Japanese people are said to be polite is because Shinto mannerisms have been interwoven over countless centuries from the ancient times to the present day. It is said that most of the modern practices such as karate, matcha tea making, and even to bowing on an everyday basis is stemmed from the ideologies of Shintoism. Being a kannushi or Shinto priest takes years of dedication, practice and understanding, but the result of seeing such rituals take place by such a few and dedicated is sight indeed. Prior to my participation, it is rare for a foreigner to take part in this ritual and is generally disallowed, and for this, the burden and hidden opportunity for me to show you this has increased threefold. This is a letter from the shrine headmaster. It's the Kumano Hayatama Taisha, which is the one of the 3 major shrines of the Kumano called the pilgrimage. It essentially reads, "Please be aware that Shinto ceremonies are divine and not just anyone can do. Essentially, those who have not acquired the qualifications of the Shinto priesthood are not allowed to perform these rituals in public." With that being said though, I'm absolutely grateful for the fact that we were able to participate in coming here today and experiencing what it's like to be a shrine priest. And it's something that I'm going to hold with an utmost respect and hopefully show everyone a glimpse of what it's like to come into the secret world that we see as often as tourists. So come and follow us.
Enter the world of mystical now. It's going to be spooky.
Hayatama Taisha is one of the grand 3 shrines in the Kumano called the pilgrimage, and is nestled in the city center of Shingu, a town approximately 2 to 3 hours by train from Nagoya or Osaka. Like many of the Shinto shrines, you most likely be welcomed at the gate by this massive interwoven rope structure known as the Shimenawa, which is said to repel all evil influences from entering. Before we enter any temple grounds, a strict regimen to purify ourselves must be adhered to, including the washing of both hands, the rinsing of the mouth, so we can enter the temple with open minds and open hearts. The iconic sounding of the taiko drum to awaken the spirits and to ready the gods of our arrival. When coming to Japan, the first thing you'll notice is the interior of the shrine that you're visiting, known as the Haidang or Chudeng. It serves as a place to conduct rituals. For us extensively, the ritual that we're bearing witness to is a ritual to increase our good spirits, rid us of any thoughts of bad doings should they exist, and to ready myself into the task of sharing my heart into the world peace prayers. The color white, in Japanese, is considered to be the reflective color of purity and clarity, and hence, the many robes donned by the Shinto priests and the tools that they use are reflective of their svat. For the Kumano Kodo shrines, the nagi leaves are said to be the holiest plant and is a perfect way of offering to the kami that resides in the shrine. Like all things in Japan, before we provide an offering to anyone, we want to ensure that the best side of the item is facing the receiver so that they can appreciate the appeal of the item that is given. This sort of mannerism takes place everywhere in Japan, from the shop clerks handling any cash and giving this to you with the notes facing you, to this tea ceremony where the bowl is turned 3 times before consumption to ensure that the best side of the bowl is facing you. What you're about to see is years of training to understand the way of Shintoism, which forms the basis of and cultural aspects of Japanese culture, all compressed within 2 hours, and then performing these without error in front of government officials.
Yeah, then I'll have to admit, being here, wearing the robes, there's something quite special about it that I can't really explain. But yet, I'm overwhelmed positively by the customs that is required to at least be in my position. This is a special moment, a very, very special moment, and something that I'm definitely going to take away from this experience for a long, long time.
Easy to forget. Whenever you finish a vow or something, you come back.
The code that we have to follow was actually quite intriguing, and everything is made to be as near perfect as possible, including the stances and the positioning of our hands. Having our hands positioned near our hips ensures that our bodies are wide open to express ourselves. I was actually very, very proud to hear that the shrine priest commented positively about my stance. The wooden item I'm holding in my hands is something you'll see when you visit Japan. It's something called a shaku. Traditionally, it held inscriptions for the priests to conduct their prayers, and is used as a beacon to hone away bad luck and to maintain focus on the event. There are also 3 types of bowing, each bow appropriate to the intensity and the formality, which again is reflective of the mannerisms in everyday Japanese society. A standard 45-degree bow and the really formal 90-degree bow combined with the shaku position near a heart line to ensure that we express this move with flow. One thing that I think everyone would benefit, especially when they visit the shrines, is the positioning of our hands when we clap. Please take a careful inspection.
Wonderful.
Even positioning away or picking up our shaku had a 3-step process. The next step in this process is the offering of gifts to the kami, or god in Japanese. Usually this gift is in the form of fruit, as fruits are often seen as gifts rather than the form of food in the typical Japanese staple diet. As you can see, the tray is passed on to myself, above the mouth. This is particularly important as shrine priests want to maintain purity of such gifts, and as such, exhaling any breath onto the food will make it impure. So, Passing the fruits in this manner helps protect it from this.
So, we've just gone through the practice of committing ourselves to the festival that's going on today. And all I can think about is not the complexity of the movements, but more so about putting my attitude forward, my best attitude forward. Sure, I think there might be a bit of mistakes that I'm going to commit, but like what the Shrine Headmaster said, I think it's all about making sure that you're putting your heart into the movement and understanding that everything comes with purpose. I think that's the most important part. So, yeah, I'm going to do my best.
And without further ado, the following has taken place. I hope you enjoy. If you carefully watch our footsteps, everything has to be in sync as the flow and balance is maintained, so greater awareness of our environment and careful attention to the person in front and remembering each step was in itself a challenge. Turning to take our seats has a method as well, as we need to ensure that we maintain respect to the kami as well as our guests. So we have to turn in a particular manner in which we are always facing our guests. As I bask into the glory and historical significance of this shrine, I'm also quite astonished by the range of special guests from the Japanese government, including the various tourism agencies involved in making this happen. When it got to this part of the ceremony of passing the trays, I had to remember to make sure that my breath doesn't fall into the fruits. This, combined with how heavy this tray was, I am grateful that I did this with ease.
So the ceremony has just completed. I'm lost for words in terms of describing my actual emotions when it comes to the ceremony. Only because, yeah, like for my many close friends that know me, unfortunately I've had a family member pass away 2 weeks ago. So going through this experience and knowing that I'm praying for world peace, but also having her in the back of my mind, this amplified those feelings. But nonetheless, the feelings were quite positive. Yeah, it's definitely an opportunity that I'm going to take away from the rest of my life. Just knowing the fact that not many foreigners like myself have the opportunity to engage in this sort of activity, I'm actually very, very fortunate to be able to be selected, number one, and be able to pray for world peace and be able to represent at least the foreign community in opening up the doors for Japan. Yeah, in terms of my overall feelings, there's nothing I can't explain it. It's been an overwhelming but positive experience.
Thank you very much for your support and your continued patronage. I hope that this video not only showed you an insight as to the shrine mannerisms in Japan, but helped educate you, even at the tiniest bit, about the strict customs involved in this process. I hope to see you next time at the next episode, so stay tuned. My name is Marvin, and thank you very much for watching. またね。
実際はもう少し長いですよ、これ。ね。もうそれからもうこれ終わるまで実際でしょ。でそれに合わせてくれ。ちゃんと神社長。
So the stitch we're going to use, is called herringbone stitch, and the reason I've picked herringbone stitch is because it sits really nice and flat. So when you go to wood burn up to it, it's easy. And it's also really easy to then, if you're going to put ochre over the top of it, to apply ochre, and it still sits flat. And you start from underneath with herringbone stitch, and then it's a zigzag stitch from underneath the whole time. Each time you go from one side to the other underneath. Today what we've tended to use and to teach with is this waxed cotton thread, and it goes through skin really easily because it's waxed. And I'm using a triangular sailmaker needle, and at the end of it is a blade, so it's quite sharp to get through, because possum skin is unbelievably, deceptively tough to get through. It's much harder to push through than kangaroo. Some people use blanket stitch, and the old cloaks were done with a running stitch with a bone awl, and they had about 100 stitches in an inch. There we go. And that's an inch there, and I'd put 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches in an inch as opposed to 100. Pretty amazing what they did in the old days. Full credit. And then to finish it, you go through to the other side, and you put the 3 stitches on top of each other on the back of the cloak on the first side where it's hidden. That's 1, 2, 3. We go down here, and then you just cut it off after you've made the knot on the first side, and you can't see it. Here we go, invisible. Okay, so you heat it up, go down all the way down to the bottom, so that's on the highest, and then I'll wait to look, and when that red end gets red like that, it's ready. You just bring it down a bit because it's probably too hot. I'll burn holes through it, the skin, and we'll just do this bit here. Alright, so what we've got here is we've got the gum of the black wattle tree, so it's the nice golden sticky stuff, and we've just pulled it off the tree, so a good time to get it is spring, because it's sort of like running more freely, and there's a lot of fresh sap. And what we're going to do is make this into bush glue. So I'm just going to get enough out to make the Aiatsis cloak. We're going to mix it in with the ground up ochre and some water. So this is boiling water. I've just boiled it in the kettle. I'm just going to add that to it. So the idea is what we're going to do is dissolve it. So it's starting to change colour now. It's going quite golden. And the way you know when it's finished is it will go thick. Pour this through slowly And I'm going to get all the lumps and impurities out of it. You sort of have to mash it through. I can see there, if before it was really full on liquid, it's starting to thicken. That should pretty much do it. So with ochre, you've got to keep going till you get it like fine, like talcum powder. So you'll see the colour sort of changing a bit, and it's starting to go like talcum powder. So now you're just going to scoop this out and make sure the container's cleanly, and then put it in there. So I usually write on the package where it's from. So I put on these where it's from, whose country it was. Okay. I've written brown yellow, but we're about to find out just what it's like when we turn it into an ochre paste. So I get a teaspoon of the resin and maybe another one, because I usually just put one, but my container's about half that size. So that's 2 in there. A little bit of cold water and a little bit of warm water. Now you just start mixing it. And so it's a brown yellow ochre. It's not a bright yellow so far. It's not as bright as it gets.
How's it going? It's Matt from Kava, and today we'll be answering the simple question, What is kava? Kava is a shrub plant that has been farmed throughout the South Pacific for thousands of years. After 3 to 4 years of growth, the roots of the kava plant are harvested, dried, and then pounded before being brewed into a relaxing shell of kava. Pull up!
Kava is our traditional drink in Fiji. It's hundreds of years from our ancestors until now, and still continue. After work, like a bottle of wine, go to the pub, have a beer, then go home. Same in Fiji. After work, like we're gathering together with a bowl of kava.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Then go home, then have dinner and sleep. This is a root. It can take 3 hours or 2 hours to uproot the plant, and after that you can wash it nicely in the fresh water. Then you put it in the sun to dry. After this, then you pound it into powder. So this is how it comes after we pound it into kava. The pound is going to mix it with the water. So after this, we'll show you how to mix the kava. You can see now we put the kava inside the cloth, which is the water which is already in the kava bowl. You can see the water changes into color. That's the real color of the kava. It's brown. Sometimes they say it's muddy.
Is it like alcohol?
No, this one is like make you feel mellow.
It's like marijuana?
Yeah, it's like you feel high. And no tongue should be lang 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 lang.
Wait, what was that?
Your tongue is going to be lang lang. They make you sleep well at night. And you have a sweet dreams. Now we'll try to serve the kava. Scrap ones.
How does it taste?
It tastes earthy, like soil. Yeah, like soil and spicy, and it numbs, it tingles on your throat and tongue.
Are you feeling the effects, the relaxing effects yet?
I don't think not yet. How long does it take?
6 to 7 bowls.
6 to 7 bowls?
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to try some?
Yeah, I'll try.
You can feel it, eh?
Oh yeah. I'm kind of in a zone right now. I'm catching a vibe for sure.
What? You feel it? What did you say? What? Tell me, it's okay.
I like it. After 6 of these, you're gonna really start feeling it. I'm a lightweight, I can already feel it. I like it, soothing.
So after drink, you have to smile.
There goes nothing.
It's not that bad.
It definitely numbs your tongue, like my lips are a little bit numb. When you drink it, how does it make you feel?
Feel relaxed. Like when you smoke marijuana, the feeling is almost like this.
It's good, numb, relaxed, make me feel relaxed.
Shaka, we don't kill people. You drink vodka, you kill people.
How much did you drink already?
I feel calm, like relax my body.
Makes me weak. Cannot do my work.
Today I'm going to introduce you to a wild drug that many people are consuming around the Pacific. Good? Good. I tried it once years back in Vanuatu. So in the South Pacific countries, they drink this stuff called kava, which is made from the ground, and you drink it in these little bowls like this. Cheers.
just one bowl, don't smell it here. I tricked you.
But now I'm here in Ponape, Micronesia to try it again and tell you guys all about it. Inside this coconut shell is a drink called kava, or as the locals call it,
Sako.
It's a thick, rough, and slimy drink that looks, tastes, and smells like mud. That looks just so gross. How much is a bottle if you want to buy one?
$6.
That's it, $6. Here in Ponape, the capital and biggest island of Micronesia, sakao is readily available in households,
Big drink today.
yeah, villages, and in small makeshift bars on the side of the street. Okay, you can see all the cars are lined up here to go to the sakao bar.
Russians have their vodka, Italians have their wine, Ponapeans have their sakao.
It's the social drug of the island and is 100% legal.
This is your actual sakao plant. It's been harvested, it's ready to be pounded.
Ponapeans drink it every single day.
For weddings, social gatherings, if you were to kill somebody and you just take the plant, you squeeze it, prepare it, you give it to the family, and then if they drink it, which means they accept your apology and you guys are good. Yeah.
So you're saying you can get away with murder by giving someone sakao?
Supposedly, but don't kill anybody though.
No, we're not recommending people to die. But I learned that the preparation process is a holy experience in itself. They really take this stuff seriously. To make it, their roots are laid on a flat stone that they got from the river. Then they are pounded with rocks in a rhythmic beat while the hibiscus plant is being extracted.
It's a skill to do this. You cannot just tear it. This is where the juice comes out of from. So they're gonna tie it, they're gonna soak it with water, and then squeeze it with the sakao. There's a chemical reaction between this hibiscus and the kava juice.
You mix it all together with water, twist it around to gather the juice into a slimy concoction and squeeze it out. You drink it, you get drunk. I thought it was only consumed by men in villages, but I found out that women equally drink it as well. It's a unique experience that's only found here in Ponape. Man, that is just a wild experience. If you guys ever find yourself in the Pacific Islands, I would recommend giving it a try, but don't drink too much because you might start throwing up and sweating profusely. And yeah, if someone ever told me to define the word culture, I would tell them to come to Ponape, go to a sakao bar, and enjoy. I like your shirt. That's my country.
Yeah, I'm retired from U.S. Navy.
So, I'm single and nothing.
I'm Drubinski, and if you like my travel videos, please click subscribe and join me as I plan to visit every country in the world. It's electric, it's sexy, it's tasty, it's confusing, but above all, it's futuristic. The Japanese are innovators. They somehow
Did you know that a safe and effective alternative to alcohol exists? Well, it does, and it's called Kava. With Kava, you can achieve the same calming and euphoric effects of alcohol without all the negatives. So how are they any different? Here are the top 7 reasons why we feel that drinking Kava is better than drinking booze. Number 1, relaxation. After a long and stressful day, nothing sounds better than relaxing. People often turn to alcohol to relieve stress, and a lot of the time, it can lead to a fuzzy, unpleasant morning. Did you know that Kava provides the same amount of relaxation as that cocktail without the negative side effects? Kava contains kavalactones, which affect the same pathways in the brain as certain anti-anxiety prescription drugs, promoting sociability while lowering anxiety. Number 2, mental impairment. Possibly one of the worst effects of alcohol is mental impairment. Kava doesn't impact mental clarity. You can drink a cup of Kava and feel as relaxed as if you drank a glass of wine while staying mentally sharp as you drink. Number 3, addiction. Unfortunately, in some circumstances, alcohol consumption can cause addiction. One way to overcome the addictive qualities of alcohol is to drink Kava instead. A study revealed that daily Kava drinkers showed no signs of addiction or side effects over a 24-week period. Number 4, pain relief. It is believed that alcohol relieves pain by blocking receptors in the brain, which only provides a short-term effect. Unlike alcohol, Kava actually contains 2 natural pain relievers, dihydrokavain and dihydromethicillin. This is why your mouth may feel numb when drinking Kava. Not only do these compounds relieve pain when consumed, but they can also relieve pain when made into a muscle rub. Number 5, sleep. Whereas alcohol can disrupt your sleep cycle and leave you feeling groggy, Kava may help you achieve a better, sounder sleep. Kava studies have shown that it influences GABA and serotonin, two neurotransmitters that promote relaxation. Number 6, happiness. Another reason that people drink alcohol is to improve their overall happiness. But with alcohol, it's one drink too many and that happiness is gone. Kava, on the other hand, contains active constituents that have been comparable to antidepressants like Xanax and Valium. Kava may help improve social and general anxiety disorders without limits associated with alcohol. Number 7, calories. Another pleasant benefit of Kava over alcohol is the calorie count. Kava contains 0 to 30 calories per tablespoon, depending on how it is prepared, while a typical 12-ounce light beer is around 100 calories, and a single shot of 80 proof vodka contains 97 calories. That's almost 100 calories for just one shot or one beer. And let's be honest, it's not usually just one. That's why Kava's calming properties and low calorie count make it a much healthier choice compared to the typical alcoholic beverage. So those were just a few reasons why we feel that Kava is a healthy alternative to alcohol. New users can find the taste to be a bit earthy and bitter. If you find yourself reluctant to try Kava, try replacing alcohol with Kava in your favorite cocktail recipe. Bula!
I'm Paula Froelich. Take a journey with me to explore the unknown and discover the unexpected. This is Abroad. The adventure starts now. Bedouins are descendants of nomads that lived in the Arabian and Syrian deserts. Today, they live a lot like their ancestors did hundreds of years ago. I went to meet with some of the Bedouins who work at the Feinan Eco Lodge, a self-sustaining hotel hidden deep in the southern Jordanian desert.
Every day you enjoy the landscape and it's amazing, crazy.
My friend Suleiman, a 26-year-old Bedouin, was kind enough to give me a tour of his tribe's settlement that surrounds the lodge. When you live in a tent, do you change with the seasons?
At least twice a year we have to move, for summer and winter.
Okay. But where they put up their tent isn't just about location.
In our culture, Bedouin, we say, before you choose where to live, know who's your neighbor first and then decide to move there or not.
Suleiman showed me his family home, where I got to see some Bedouin traditions that are centuries old. So is this the main house where you guys live?
So this is actually our tent. This tent is divided. This is the men's side, actually, and behind this is the women's side.
Oh, okay. If this is the men's side, do women ever come in here or no?
You know, the family together, they always sit together, eat together. But I mean, if someone not from different tribe come, the women will go to the women's side.
So I'm supposed to be on the other side right now. In Bedouin culture, hospitality reigns supreme. And to help me feel at home, Suleiman's dad, Abu, made bread for us to share. He added water to the flour, kneaded the dough, and placed it into the dirt pit. Then the bread was covered with ash and firewood to cook for 15 minutes on each side.
It's done.
Isn't it hot?
Hot, but he managed.
Careful, careful.
He's fine.
Oh, bad bread. This is good. You can get your aggression out on the bread. It looks delicious.
I would give you this piece. It's the best one.
But their hospitality didn't stop with the bread. Next up, coffee, which in these parts is very expensive.
The Arabic coffee, it's not a drink that we have every day.
Why not? What is it?
We drink it in special occasions. So you roast it in this one for roasting.
Okay.
Grinding here.
You grind
and when you do that sound, it means you invite your neighbors to come.
Ooh, I called the whole village.
We are very happy. All the village come and we give them coffee here. Yes. And then after that, the host should drink 1 cup in front of the guests.
Oh, to make sure that it's not poisoned.
To make sure it's not poisonous, to also the guests will feel safe about it. So tasty.
So tasty. Shukran.
Afwan.
Okay, so we go. So what do the women use the coal for? Is it just for makeup?
No, it's not just for makeup. So they would use it in a wedding, celebration, feast.
Do men use it?
Only for medicine. Sometimes you just put it in the eyes and that will be the best protection you have for your eyes from the heat and for eye infections. And the other thing, they use it for the people to see even better at night.
So it's like homemade night vision.
Yes, and to give the eyelash color and to make it even grow.
We do have 600 facades, and this one is the nicest one.
If this facade looks familiar, it's not your imagination. It was the fictional home of the Holy Grail in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. This is from the Indiana Jones movie, right?
Right.
And Harrison Ford went right in?
That's right.
Were they able to film inside?
Yes, of course.
Unfortunately for me, and everyone else, you're no longer allowed inside. That's the only time I've been jealous of Harrison Ford.
He's a very nice actor.
And this is one of the 7 wonders of the world?
That's right.
While no one's really sure what this building was really used for, many believe it was a mausoleum. But archaeologists recently discovered that may not have been the case.
According to the latest studies done by Swiss people, they think that this was a reception hall. Where
so
the Nabatean king, that's
they would
right.
come down, be super impressed, and semi-fearful because it was such a rich, impressive place.
Right.
Today, it's known as the Treasury. Okay, why do they call it the Treasury?
They gave it this name, actually, locals, those who were living in Bridgeton in 1984, because they thought that there was some kind of gold inside the urn at the top, and silver. That's why they started shooting it. You can't see the holes around it.
They tried to shoot it down so that it would rain gold on it.
That's right. But it's a solid stone, actually. There's nothing inside it.
I know we can do better than this.
Olen syntynyt tässä Näkkälän kylässä poromiesperheessä ja isä on ollut aina poroelinkeinossa mukana ja velipoika on täyspäiväisesti vielä tänäkin päivänä. Saamelaisuuteen tietenkin kuuluu hyvin tärkeänä poro ja muut luontaiset elinkeinot, mutta matkailu on tullut tähän rinnalle. Kyllä se on poro tietenkin yksi tärkeimmistä, mitä asiakkaat haluaa nähdä. Ja tietenkin nyt talvella on revontulet. Ja se on täällä joka päivästä. Ei poro ole mikään hauskuutuseläin ollut koskaan, se on tuotantoeläin. Ja se on aina tietenkin asiakkaille ja turisteille shokki, että ei kaikki porot ole täällä joulupukin poroja, että niitä myös teurastetaan ja syödään. Mutta nyt saattaa olla, että se vähän muuttuu. Sehän ehkä olisi parempi, että se poro saisi päästää henkeensä ja saisi saman rahan vuosittain matkailijoilta, mitä sitä tulisi lihaa.